So we also had the announcement of the PSP Master. If we're going with that, it is literally the PlayStation Portal, the PSP. I don't know if I have a whole lot to say about this, honestly, but I know Gerardo is very opinionated on this particular topic.
It's funny.
I am ready for it. I am here for it.
I have mostly negative opinions on this thing, so
love it. Go for it.
Lay it on me.
Let's just take it from the top. So this device is a handheld that is only remote play capable with a PlayStation 5. So you need a PS5 at home to be able to use this anywhere, and you need to connect to it through some sort of Wi-Fi connection, like your mobile hotspot would probably work.
Off to a great start.
The in concept,
gaming is always better on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's always sounded really cool on paper, and Sony's been doing this thing since the PSP and PS3 days, but it's always like the gaming experience through the internet has always been pretty rough. Well, yeah, technically the PSP 1000 technically is,
They had a lot of different iterations for those. I remember the PSP Go, which was just a digital only experience.
There is a few PSPs, yeah.
I didn't
and
know
now
that
we have a
existed.
PSP that only does Wi-Fi games.
Only
does games over Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't
PSP.
It only does games over Wi-Fi with a console that could have otherwise played it.
Yeah. It only streams games that are actually being run on a different device.
So you're probably within distance of the PS5 if you're playing it.
Yeah. And to be fair, with the PSP and the Vita, the direct connection to the console is usually pretty good for playing games. For the average person, playing like a game through Wi-Fi is gonna be you're gonna have a lot of like input lag and stuff.
Rough.
And you usually don't get that when you connect the PSP or Vita directly to the PS3 or 4. But then it's like a Wii U situation where you gotta be there right in front of the thing, and you're gonna have limited use cases where that's actually like a viable option. Like somebody else is using your TV, or
that's it.
You take the console somewhere for some reason and you set it up without a monitor.
I think
those are the use cases I've had for it.
I think I saw you playing, was it God of War, on my couch when you came over to my place for a little bit. So there are some instances where you could take it to a friend's place or something, or if you're at work maybe and there's free Wi-Fi and it doesn't suck enough to where there's a whole lot of latency.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, especially at work Wi-Fi.
And it's never a great option, honestly. It's always a downgraded experience.
Well, guess what? That downgraded experience is your only experience here with the PlayStation Portal.
That doesn't even get into the fact that you can already do this with a cell phone. With the iPhone Remote Play app, you can already connect to your console and play through there. You can already connect a DualSense controller to your iPhone and play through that.
Oh my god.
Which makes this device super redundant for those users. I
have some questions about that. But sorry, continue.
Oh, yeah. No problem. But I will say, in my use case, I use a Galaxy phone. That's my go-to. The DualSense controller doesn't connect well to the Galaxy phone. For some reason, it makes all the button inputs all out of whack, and the controller just doesn't work with the Remote Play app for some reason. And I don't know if that's Samsung's fault, I don't know if that's Google's fault, and I don't know if that's Sony's fault, but that is the case. So this device has more of a use case for me personally than it would to like a lot of other people.
Well,
and I still think it's dumb.
Most people with Androids are probably running a Samsung, but I think that Samsung has like a majority like market share. Like it's like
that's what I have.
Yeah, almost all Android users have a Galaxy. So if you connect a DualSense to your phone and you're able to play God of War or something somehow with your controller, even though it's super difficult, do you still get the benefits of that controller? Like, do you get the adaptive triggers and stuff over Wi-Fi? Do you get that all works? Does the microphone work and everything?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Then this really doesn't matter because unless you take... I can see the appeal of it being one system rather than... Man, I don't know. It's easier to just... You have your phone on you. It's easier to just have your controller.
Yeah, maybe if you don't want to waste your phone's battery doing it, like you're in that kind of a situation where you want to make sure that you have a separate device that you can run through the battery no problem on, even though you're still probably using the hotspot on your phone.
Yeah.
In my case, I can't connect a DualSense to my phone, so I get the DualSense features in this device when I normally would not be able to do that with my phone.
Okay, well, $200 is a big premium for being able to do that.
Very steep.
Which
still a lot.
Actually, I want to talk about that price because that's a lot for what this system is, but it is cheaper than a Switch. I think $200 on top of a $500 PS5.
Yeah, it's not $200. You have to have the PS5 too.
It's cheaper than a Switch, but it's not cheaper than a Switch Lite.
And it's not cheaper than a PS5, which is the actual console. This isn't the console.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would argue that it's cheaper than the Switch. It's because it's not.
I'm trying to make it work.
Actually, since you require the PS5 in order to use this device at all, is it actually cheaper than a Switch?
No, that's what, to Brad's point, it's not. Okay, it's a $700 device.
Yeah, $700. If you get the digital PS5, it's at least $600 total.
That's very steep.
It does have God of War.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Are we talking about
the device that it plays does.
I thought you meant the Portal had God of War. I'm like,
no, but it does because the PS5 does. But to Gerardo's point, it doesn't.
Well, and that's the stupid thing, because the leaks that we've seen for this device have shown, that's suggested. We don't know any of this for sure until it comes out, that it's running some form of Android, and that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
theoretically, I wouldn't be surprised if people are able to mod this device to actually run games natively on it, or like not natively, but emulate on it.
Yes.
Low end games, like like a PS1 game, and that's something that Sony's done before. Sony released a phone like 10 or so years ago that you could buy and download PS1 games to it and play them.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that the selling point to this, and I was waiting for the punchline, but it never came, was that that you could stream games from like servers from Sony for like a subscription. That to me makes sense. That would make sense. Then I would understand the appeal. Like if you have a PlayStation, great, you can play your games. But if you don't, that's okay. Get this subscription and you can still play the games.
That would really make sense, because within the past year, Sony revamped the entire PlayStation Plus experience they connected it with PlayStation Now so that you could stream games to it, to your console. But in this case, Sony already said you're not able to play the PS Plus premium games, like the streaming games on this device, even through the PS5. I read in the blog post that they made, they stated that specifically, that it doesn't let you do that. So you can only play games that you've downloaded on your PS5.
I'm scrolling through the blog post now.
This would it would have been a really good way for Sony to promote their PS Plus premium service if they'd made this thing capable of doing that. And who knows, maybe they can patch it in later.
So in theory, you could stream games to your PS5 with all of that latency and then to your handheld?
Oh no.
With all that latency? There's no direct?
No, that's what I just said like a couple minutes ago. Sony, in the blog post, they say specifically that you can't do that.
Nor would
maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I misunderstood. So PS5 remote play games, because there are some games that the PS5 does stream, right? It's not running natively. So you can't play those games on the Portal?
No.
I misunderstood that. That is dumb. What?
Yeah, one specific case for that.
Citations are right here. It'll be in the show notes for anyone else who wants to verify this stuff. Yeah, it only remotely connects directly to the PS5.
That's a great value proposition, guys.
To that point, also PSVR 2 games are not supported. Yeah, so
yeah, but that makes
PSVR
sense.
2
I
game
mean,
that kind of makes sense. They require
kinda
the
makes
headset,
sense.
and games streamed through PS Plus premiums, cloud streaming
Yeah.
are not supported. I also want to add, this came out at the worst time possible. Everyone,
Yeah.
people are starting to get PS5s now. Like, I have a PS5, you have a PS5. Brad doesn't yet, but the PS5 is starting to get into actual consumers' hands now. But this comes out during the worst recession that we've had since the 1930s, and here we are with a new peripheral to an overpriced console. Who's
This is
buying
true.
this? I'm not
Okay.
buying this.
The entire
This
PlayStation 5 ecosystem that Sony's been building is really expensive if you're like a really hardcore gamer and you're really into it and you want to get all the pieces of it, because we're talking about the $500 PS5 with a disc drive. We're talking about the $550 PSVR 2, this device that's $200, the earbuds that are $200 if you want to have wireless audio, which we'll get back into later. Really hardcore about it, Sony released a gaming monitor for the PS5 that costs $1,000 by itself.
The
Oh my
4K
God.
120 thing, yeah.
guys,
Yeah,
this,
you're looking at an ecosystem that costs over $2,000 for one game console.
This
Easily.
reminds me of Sega's way of putting the Genesis on life support way back in the day.
Now, there is one cool thing that comes out of that, and that's, they said it in the blog post, you can use PlayStation Link and the Bluetooth on the earbuds at the same time, so you can connect them to your phone and like voice chat with somebody through Discord, for example, while also having them connected to your PlayStation Portal and listening to the audio from the game.
So it does dual pass-through?
Yeah. Since it's like different systems, I suppose.
Okay, that's
Hence the
kind of
hefty-
cool.
Although theoretically,
price
maybe
tag.
they could have done 2 Bluetooth outputs. I'm not sure how that would work structurally.
That would have
but
been really expensive.
It's already expensive, Hunter.
That's the
yeah.
only cool thing I can find here, really. The other thing I can think of, and again, I'll need to see how this thing works to get this through. When I connect my earbuds to my phone, for example, I use Galaxy Buds with my Galaxy phone. I get an audio delay from what's playing on my phone's screen. Maybe the PlayStation Link doesn't have an audio delay, or it's like really small, I mean, by that.
It better not have an audio delay.
That's the other positive I can think of for this.
Because if it does, that means your game's going to be lagging playing through Wi-Fi, and now your audio is going to be lagging through that lag as
Yeah.
you play the game.
Yeah.
We literally have wireless connectivity that is faster than cables. We have mice now that literally move faster than electricity, than data going through cables. It's literally, I mean, granted, it's all within like, faster than the refresh rate of my monitors, than any monitors made. But it's technically like several actually milliseconds faster to do wireless now. Like, wireless connectivity is actually better than wired for the first time in gaming history right now. We're in a really weird era. And now that stuff is actually becoming consumer accessible. We can actually buy stuff that is less than $100 that has that kind of technology.
Yeah, my mouse is
like
weird.
I said, my gaming mouse, you have the same mouse that I do. That's the same thing. Like, it's literally faster than a wired mouse. And headphones now are getting to the point where they're able to do really fast, zero latency transfers over wireless. So if these have any kind of delay, that would be criminal. There's no way, especially if they made their own wireless transfer system.
They went through the hoops of making something proprietary.
Yeah, like if they already have a proprietary peer-to-peer audio system, I would assume that it's faster than whatever. Bluetooth
And that's
is
the
pretty
thing.
fast. I don't know.
And that's the thing, though. They're saying, like, this standard isn't good enough for us, so we're going to make you pay more for our version that's going to be better.
Bluetooth 5 is pretty good. I
Now,
don't know.
going back to the price, so this device itself is $200 or $199. A DualSense by itself costs $80. So you're paying like an extra $120 for to have the screen on it. Honestly, I was expecting this thing to be $250 at least. So I'm a little surprised that it's lower than what I expected. I was worried it was going to be $300, but
well, with the limited capabilities it's actually able to produce, I can see why it's $200.
Yeah, I can't wait to see
Even though
if
it's
people
still
can mod
expensive.
this. That'd be something. So speaking of the Switch, we currently know that Nintendo is working on a new console, and they're likely about to reveal it. I want to say by the end of this year, maybe early next year.
Next year, I think.
Just think about how stupid the PlayStation Portal is going to look if Nintendo's new system is even just a decent device.
Especially since, by all accounts, it seems to be pretty similar to the Switch setup. And so you have the Portal. You could take your Portal with you and play your games on the go. Or you could get the Switch 2 or whatever it is and get a better experience.
Yep.
Doesn't have God of War, though.
Even comparing it to the PSP and the Vita, the PSP Go had a dock that you could buy for it so that it would functionally be the Switch. And this device can't do that.
I remember that, yeah.
This is the remote play ecosystem is like a more jank version of what the Switch does really well. With the Vita, they tried to turn it into two separate devices, so that you have to buy the handheld Vita and the PlayStation Vita TV. And that was just less efficient. The Vita TV is kind of sucks in comparison to the handheld because it can play less games. So it's almost like there's this slow evolution where Sony's handhelds are getting less practical. The Vita, I love the Vita, but that specific aspect of it is less practical than what the PSP was able to do.
And to put a beautiful kind of pin on that, I think that it's really weird how Nintendo has gotten... It's kind of weird how, as Nintendo's realized that mobile play or playing on the go is really, really valuable to both younger gamers and older gamers, starting with like the Game Boy and going to the Game Boy Advance. And the Game Boy was super freaking successful and spawned the Game Boy Advance. DS did really well. 3DS struggled at first, but it was basically a DS family system. Did really well towards the end of its lifespan. And now we have the Switch. That is their main console. Their home console is on the go still. You know, like Nintendo has only upgraded and only become more successful because of it.
Yeah, Nintendo's always been the king of handhelds.
Yeah, and how has Sony kind of done the opposite? How have they failed every step of the way? PSP, great. Not a lot of people that I know had one. You know, it wasn't the DS or whatever, you know. But some people had a PSP.
Yeah, the PSP was actually a pretty good rival for what the DS was. Yeah, the DS won out, but I think it was a pretty competent system in its own right and what it was trying to do.
Yeah, the PSP is the only non-Nintendo handheld that I would say has ever been successspecial sales.
Oh, 100%.
That's probably a good that's definitely correct.
And there have been plenty. If you look into like especially like during the 90s, if you look at the obscure stuff, somehow Sony just can't seem to replicate that for some reason. So the current gaming market, with the Nintendo system being a hybrid and Sony choosing to do this device, this streaming only device, the rest are just handheld PCs that are trying to replicate the Switch's form factor. It doesn't give me much hope that Sony will ever do another dedicated handheld because of how oversaturated the handheld market is, with Nintendo almost monopolizing the handheld market and the rest of the market being the Steam Deck and niche handheld PCs. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony's looking at this and thinking like they made this device because they wanted to invest as little as they could into a handheld device. And I would imagine that this is pretty cheap to develop for them compared to like a dedicated, like a device that actually has
some power behind
power to it. Yeah. Because if you look at the form factor of this thing is literally a DualSense controller cut in half with a screen put in.
It's not even pocketable.
Yeah. Look at something that really stands out to me about this device's design is the thumbsticks, because they're right next to the screen itself and they stick out like a solid, like it looks like a full inch above the screen. It's almost like a straight line straight up from the screen. It just looks cobbled together to me. So just to end things off here, overall, of the three of us, I'm the most likely kind of person to get this type of device because I would actually have a use case for it. Like I can think of a use case for it,
And you're
I play games at work sometimes. That's something
and
that
you're
I'm
a
able
Sony
to do.
fanboy.
No, I'm a game console enthusiast. No, that's the wrong way to put it. I like to use the features that my game consoles are capable of when I'm able to. I like exploring the functionalities that are put in, the gimmicks. And this is a gimmick that the PS5 is capable of doing. And this is something that I already do, I bring my Vita to work and I remote play my PS4 with it sometimes.
That's kind of what I'm saying, though. Okay,
Well,
sorry.
No, but you're saying I do that because I'm a Sony fanboy.
No,
But
it is cool part of technology, so yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
I do it because I like exploring what the technology is capable of, right? So
I
I
know that's
actually
the
have a
real
use
reason
case for
why,
this
yeah.
because I would bring this if I had this with me. I would bring this to work if I was like currently playing a PS5 game, like in general, like if I had just gotten a new game for the PS5 and I wanted to play it, but I had to go to work, then I would bring this with me and I would play it when I can.
I believe that you would do that.
I'm still, because of the price, the cost of this, I'm iffy on that because as it stands, I can still remote play it with my phone. I just have to use the touch screen for the controls, which is terrible. So, it's for me, the decision depends on how badly I want to use the DualSense controller for remote playing, which is, it's iffy. If I had the disposable income, I'd do it just cause, just to expand my game collection, just to explore these features, the functionalities. But like, I can already, like, I don't even have to ask you guys. I know you guys aren't going to buy this. There's like no chance.
No.
Especially
Yeah,
Brad, because he doesn't have a PS5.
Yeah, definitely
And
not.
Brad's a PC gamer now. He doesn't care.